Like, ain't no more fixing. I said, I just look whatever I look like today. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Hello, ladies. Welcome, welcome. How is everybody today? My name is Taylor Thompson. We're coming live here in the She Network. And I have a beautiful guest here today I cannot wait to introduce you to. So as you're coming on, let me know you're here. Say hey, where you're coming in from. I know we've had a lot of international visitors over the last few weeks from Spain and Sweden and Italy and nice. Ireland's been in the house. So yeah, let us know you're here. We want to say hi. We want to say hey. And I just want to say, have you voted today? I'm so excited. Did you do your due diligence? Did you do your civil duties today? Zondra and I, oh my God, okay, I'm so excited. Okay. First of all, let me just introduce you. As you're coming on, I want to take a few minutes here and I want to introduce you to my beautiful guest here today. And I call her my Miss ZTV, but she actually has a last name that's not TV. This is my beautiful friend, Miss Zondra Evans. Look how stunning she looks today. Sandra, how are you today?
I am doing very well, Taylor. Thank you so much for having me.
You know, whenever I saw you on my schedule, I'm like, election day. Oh my gosh, I get to have you on election day. So we were just talking about this. I mean, I'm such a traditionalist. I love to vote on election day. It's such a gift. It's such a privilege. It's such a blessing to live in a free country to where we can vote, we can have our voice heard, and to have that kind of freedom that so many people don't necessarily have. And so anyway, it's such a special day, and I have a special guest here. And so, Zondra, you and I met. Now, don't you just love networking? Love networking, because I met you through my beautiful friend Angel.
Yes.
Okay, so she introduced us, and I just love how, whenever women connect with other women, and listen, I see a lot of people on right now. Drop your name. Let me know you're here. Thank you, Tina. Thank you so much for saying hey. We want to say hi to you guys too. And we've got a special story here. So how are you today, Miss Zondra?
I'm very well. I'm good. I'm good every day, most days anyways. I'm doing really well. And today is a special day. And if you haven't voted, please go do so. Your voice, your vote really does matter. And so I'm excited. I did my voting a week and a half ago. And so I'm just excited to see the results, which may take 2 weeks. But nonetheless, I'm waiting to see how it's going to turn out. So.
Yes. I mean, this is all, the culmination, and there's been a lot of stuff, but we're not going to talk about politics today. All that, we're going to push all that aside. If you voted, congratulations. If you haven't, go do it. So Tina, thank you for being here. And I think, okay, ladies, if you're coming in, let us know. Otherwise it says Happy Tuesday. Ladies, I see Facebook user. I don't know who's saying this. So who you are, so we can know who this is. So there's just a little link up there. You just click it and it gives you permission to say hey. So let's have a conversation, Miss ZTV. So tell us all about you. First of all, how do you get those lashes going on?
It's now habit. It's not a hobby. It's habit. You even know how to sleep beautiful, so they kind of stay on.
You sleep with one eye open?
Yeah, one eye open, one eye closed. Every now and then, you just switch up.
I love it. Well, okay, so you have your own. I keep calling you, Miss ZTV. You have your own TV network, and everybody's like, well, gosh, how do you get your own TV network, right? But they don't. I always say this, people forget about the journey, right? They forget about the chapters before this chapter, right? Nobody wants to read those chapters, right?
I don't even know if we have enough time for me to tell you about the chapters before this chapter. So it's been a journey. I
So
mean, I'm a corporate vet. I mean, I always say that because 40 years in corporate America is what my gig was, and to leave corporate America and come out into what I call the community, it's a whole different ball game, and nobody told me ahead of time.
yeah,
So
I love that. Hey, Ashley, glad you're here. Thanks for being here. Thanks, Tina. Love you so much. Let's see. Wait, what does she say? Lay carefully on your back, not to mess up your hair. Okay, yeah, I love that. I thought you were trying to tell me my hair was messed up. I'm like, no, this is really a look. I don't know. It's like the okay. So you background professional. So but let's take tell us about how you were raised, and I mean how did you get to be a professional? Because sometimes you know that is an influence of your family, of your background, and the way you were raised. How did you get to that place? Let's have that conversation.
I kind of think, Taylor, it's in my DNA. Just recently, in the last maybe month and a half, we decided that we were going to start a private Facebook group that's called the Davis Family. And my immediate family, everybody's gone. So my mother, my father, my brother, my sister, all of my uncles and aunts on both sides of my mother and father's family, they're all deceased.
Wow.
But there's a few of us left. And what I found as I started to post things in this private group is that I come from a background of pure entrepreneurship.
Wow.
And so I think it's in my DNA. My great grandmother was the first Black woman to own a company store and to buy 47 acres of land.
Wow. You
She,
just sent chills over me. You literally just sent chills over me. Wow, what a heritage.
so I come from that, from a very small town called Hooks, Texas. That's where I come from. I come from a true serial entrepreneurial family that raised cattle and then sold meat and products and had a store. And back in those days, it was to serve the African American community. But at the end of the day, in the late 1800s, a Black woman to buy 47 acres of land that we still own today and we care for to this day, because that is our lineage. And so it's really not about trying to sell it, make money, put something on it. It's to go down and say, this entire street in Hooks, Texas, we own it. And so that's a beautiful thing. But as people begin to,
I want to really tap into this really right here. You said a lot because, I mean, first of all, just being a woman, in the 1800s to own anything, right? I mean, women really, that was completely unheard of. And then whenever you add the ethnicity on top of that, and then you add the South
on top of that,
girl, that speaks volumes to me. For those of you who are maybe not from the South, you don't know that kind of, there's so many obstacles. There are so many speed bumps that were placed in front of your grandmother. And I love this. I love that you're sharing this, because it really does show that no matter what your background, your set of circumstances, the circle you stand in, there's always a way. There's always a way to break free and to break out if you have a vision, right? If you have a purpose, and if you're focused on God's plan for your life, right?
Absolutely. But you have to be courageously intentional, though. And I talk about courageous intention because I think that we use the word being intentional so loosely. And so I consider my great grandmother to have been courageously intentional in the 1800s to step out and to actually, do some of the entrepreneurial things that she did to serve us. That was her tribe, and she served her tribe. She served them well,
Mm.
and then took that money and bought the land that we have today. So just amazing. And then there's other things that have come out in the family heritage that, I'm in media. I never thought I'd be in media, but do you know that my cousin is Iola Johnson, and she was the first Black newscaster in the state of Texas. So, I mean, I come from a background that's rich with entrepreneurship and really being pioneers. And so when I think about myself in TV, I'm a pioneer in TV, but I have the right to be here because it's part of my DNA.
You have somebody that's gone before you and help pave the way. Whenever you say pioneer, sometimes people don't necessarily think about what that truly means. I always, whenever I think about pioneer, I'm like thinking about like them with the machete and cutting through carving out the trails, with the wagons to go through. I mean, like you think about that, like,
Yeah.
I can't even imagine what that must be like. I'm so thankful for the pioneers, the people that paved the way for make my journey easier, right? To clear the path for me to come along on a little smoother road and a little smoother trail, right? And that's what we're talking about, all the reason why I think about the She Network, and whenever like stories and whenever you hear somebody's journey and when, how they've paved the way and cleared the path for someone to walk along behind them, right? To show them the way and lead the path. It's just such a powerful vision when you say the word pioneer. Like, I love that word.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited. It's really taught me a lot, about my family heritage, just from having this private group on Facebook and getting to know some of my cousins that maybe I didn't know. But I really know now the reason why, even when I was in corporate, I always had this side hustle. I was always an entrepreneur on the side. And now it just kind of all came really clear to me. Because it's in your DNA, Zondra. Your great grandmother was a phenomenal woman. Your cousin was a phenomenal woman, and did things that nobody else had ever done. So
well, and here's the other thing. I always say this is like, environment is stronger than will, right?
yeah,
So whenever you're brought up in this with mindset, whenever you're brought up in this environment, in this arena that you see people achieving things and doing things, it casts a vision for you that you have, like, wow, if they can do it, I can do it, right? So
right.
you're very blessed and fortunate to have that kind of culture, that kind of incubator way that allows you to start having that believability. If they can do it, I can do it, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You better know.
I know that there was a lot of speed bumps and challenges in the way. Like, I mean, let's talk about that, because I mean, like, they look at like how you're all put together and just all pristine there. Like, I'm telling you, you can't tell me this picture's always been this glamorous, right?
I look at pictures and I go, dang, I get better with time. I think it's a time factor here. I seem to get
40 and 50 is the new 20 or something.
That's what I say all the time. I think I've gotten better with time, but it's been a challenge. Even when I was in corporate, 'cause I'd like to start there. Is why I so believe in leadership. It's why, I give leadership conferences. It's why I do what I do, because I started there and I had to learn how to really engage in an unfamiliar environment. Because remember, I've got entrepreneurial spirit in my DNA. Yeah. And so learning how to be corporate was something that I had to really proactively engage in and learn. And when people were sleeping, I probably was reading and figuring out, how do I do this? But because of that, and because of the 40 years of doing that, I'm committed to help other women know and learn how to lead gracefully and earn that seat at the corporate table. There's a way to do it, but you've got to be able to tap in to really your authenticity and deliver that in a way that it can be received.
I love that, because now we're talking, because ladies, like, Okay, yes, we're talking about corporate America, right? But we're also talking about entrepreneurship, because
Yes.
there's like two sides of this that you're learning from because keep in mind, corporate America, you're under somebody else's authority. You're under somebody else's time frame, timeline. You're not calling the shots, right? You have to do it someone else's way. But whenever you figure out this way, to what I think the point that you're trying to make is, whenever you can step out and where people see something like out of the ordinary, right? They see your leadership skills, that you are set apart, you still under the authority, but they see something different and unique about you that you bring to the table. That's right? It's not just a job at this point. Now you're really showing them, okay, I'm made for more.
Absolutely. Because we are made for more. So I don't down corporate. I don't. Now, Taylor, I don't. It paid me good money and I loved it. But there's nothing greater than having a vision planted inside of you that you actually get to execute and implement over time. And so to me, I value the experience, but it's just experience if you actually can't apply it to your own life for real. And so being an entrepreneur is applying it to your own life and then navigating through the terse waters of your journey, because it will be, in order to present the world. That's when you start dealing with worldviews and being able to really present the world with the true, genuine, authentic you. So yeah, it taught me a lot.
I love that. So tell me about like tell me about like your family, like, because being in the corporate America, there was a lot of sacrifice, right? There was a lot of, I mean, especially whenever you think about women, right? I mean, and women, whether you're in corporate America, whether you're an entrepreneur, like, we wear so many different hats. So talk to us about that and how you had how did you balance that, and what did that look like for you?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not sure in my early days in corporate that I was the best balancer of that, but I figured out over time the formula for success for me and my family. And so while I was under a corporate umbrella of protection, that's what I call it, I had many assignments. I had many things that I had to do, but it could not be absent of my family. And so I've worked in Europe, I've worked in Japan, but it wasn't without my family coming along. So I made sure that there was balance so that my family, one, got to experience international, got to be a part of that process, to learn the different foods and the different value systems and how things really work in another country. So I made it a point to make it a learning experience for my family, especially for my kids.
Yeah, that's so powerful. Because there's so many times that I think that we sometimes we feel like we may have to sacrifice one for the other, right? And there's the mom guilt that plays along in that. So so tell us about, like, how did you get from corporate America? Like, what was the transition, and how did that look, with your family life, and how did you get to this place now? Like, what took place? I mean, like,
it's major. So here's the thing. So I happen to believe in the power of an exit strategy, and I believe that a good exit strategy is actually created in good times. It's not when somebody gives you a notice that you're going to be laid off. It's not when you're down on your luck. It's when things are going well. And oftentimes, especially we as women, don't think about the exit strategy during good times. We're just making the money. We're doing it. We're in motion. But I really encourage people to think about an exit strategy beyond a business. A lot of times the exit strategy means, exit out of my business. Now that I have a business, what's my strategy? But an exit strategy is needed for every component of your life. So what I did is in the good times when I was making that six-figure income, I created an exit strategy. But here's the difference. I began executing and implementing some of the exit strategy while I was still getting paid. So part of that was to be a certified life coach. I got my company to pay for it, even though I wasn't a coach on the job, but I was coaching their people. If I'm a leader, I'm coaching every day. So you should want me to be the best that I could be at that. And so, I had to write a thesis to get it approved, but they approved it. So I got my certification, I built my website, and I started to market myself as a life leadership and transformation coach. And I started getting clients. So I already had clients in place before I ever left.
So this is really powerful right here, like, because, first of all, we're probably talking to a lot of networkers. We're probably talking to ladies that even maybe doing this business as a, what I call it, you mentioned it before, like a little side hustle, side gig, right? And they're doing, maybe doing this as a little business, but maybe without this mindset, right? So I really want to tap into this mindset right here, because to your point, I love this phrase, being courageously intentional. Because you may be listening and you may be in the spot where you are still at your job. You may be in corporate America right now. And, okay, what is the exit strategy? What is the long-term goal? And I love how you've positioned yourself. It's like, okay, you were doing the extra. You were going the extra mile. Even though you had the six figures, it could be very easily to rest in that. Mm-hmm. However, there was a vision outside of the six figures that you go, okay, I have to train myself for something more, which means hours outside. This means courageously intentional, educating yourself, courageously intentional, burning the midnight oil, on an exit strategy that leads you to something else. So you may be in that spot right now, but what are you doing? How are you positioning yourself? What are you doing to equip yourself? Are you going to the gym and lifting the weights that it's going to take to exit where you are to get to where you want to be? That's the question. Isn't that the question?
That is so the question. Because at the end of the day, there's not a lot of people. I mean, if you be blatantly honest, in a corporate job, do you really love it? We condition ourselves to believe we love it. Oh, I love this job. I love what I'm doing. But if you really could just remove everything, no finances, don't have nothing be in your way, and you really thought about that thing that warms your heart the most, I guarantee you, it's probably not that job, but it's something that's deeply, innately in you, and it's been in you from the first day you took a breath. And so when I talk about being courageously intentional, it's being courageously intentional to tap into that greatness, because that is what's going to propel you. It isn't that job.
But you know what? It doesn't even matter if it's a corporate job, or even if you are doing network marketing full time, right? You're your own entrepreneur. I mean, really, that may not even be what you love, because you're thinking all you're doing. Because it could be just, your network marketing company, even though you're an entrepreneur, could be just a job if you're not really loving it, and if that's not what you were created to do, that innate, that passionate thing, like you love. Oh my God, I get up to love to do what I do. But it could be, using and thinking about using your job, your profession, your side hustle to afford you to do that piece, what you're talking about, what you love, what you were created for. I love this.
Because you know what you were created for will not make sense. It won't make sense financially. It won't make sense probably to many of your family members. They're going to be looking, you're going to do what? Because it's not customary. I believe that the thing that you've been called here to do is not customary. It really isn't. It's something totally different that you get joy from. It's a joy. It's unspeakable joy. And that thing, trying to figure out how to monetize it, the money will come if you follow your mission. and
Yeah.
your purpose and and what God really placed you here to
Yes.
do that and do that well and build around that, and the money will come. I promise you. It'll all kind of come together.
Well, and so isn't that really the true definition of faith, right?
That is the true definition of faith.
Like faith is being sure of what you hope for and certain of what you don't see.
That's right.
I mean, so and there's so many times, and I mean, for me, this is like why, one of the reasons why I created She Network, sharing her excellence, because like, have you found like working, and I know with you coaching and what you're doing, you probably see this more than even probably I have, like psychologically, I mean, being a coach or whatever, like guru, whatever. I mean, that women especially, they have like this gift, they have this something that's in them, and they take it for granted. They don't even appreciate it because they can't even see it. Do you find that to be true?
Oh,
Like their gift, it's like right in front of their face, and you're like, don't you see what I see? Like, hello.
no, they don't. And you know why? Because subconsciously we don't want to see that. Because if we see it, then we may need to address it. So a lot of people will say, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know why I'm here. And I go, yeah, you do. Yes, you do. But if you need to be deliberate and intentional, why don't you just start spending 15 to 20 minutes with yourself? Make a calendar invite, spend total quiet time with yourself, 15 to 20 minutes, once every 2 weeks, maybe once a month, and ask the question, who am I and why am I here? And I guarantee you, you're going to hear something that you're not really familiar with, because why? We keep it past our belly button. We push it down every day, because how will I make money? How will I survive? How will I pay my rent? All of these questions, that chatter takes over the true purpose and the meaning of why you are here.
So, and I mean, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a doctor or anything, but that was like that what you just said, how where we get bogged down in is whenever we start asking the how, because then our minds start searching for the how. And so that's not the question to ask, right? The question that you have to ask is, how is not the how, is what does this mean? What does this look like? Right? Not the how.
Well, that's the revelation of faith. So to me, there's two things that have to be answered. You got to really know who you are, because I don't care where you are. You could be in corporate, you could have your own business, you could be anything, but you got to know who you are. And then the second thing is just understanding the why, because when you understand your why, it defines the what.
When you understand, okay, ladies, write this down. This is gold nuggets here. When you understand your why, say that again.
The what becomes natural.
The what becomes natural. That's so good. The what becomes natural. So this is one of the things that I think where so many times, like, I mean, I know for me, because I do this to myself. I do this to myself too. Like, I'm like, oh, like, I mean, this network is the perfect example. Like Zondra, like, oh my gosh, like I kept telling God, no, I don't have time to do this. I just don't have time. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how to do this. I just, and so, I mean, I'm like, okay, like I just jumped out there. I just stepped out of the boat. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how, but I'm just going to, I like driving in the fog, right? You don't have to know A to Z. You just have to know A to B, right? Just take one step.
That's it.
And then you'll see step C, right? After you step on B, right? Then you'll see C. If you think like that, you will always be moving forward. If you try to see A to Z, you will be paralyzed
and overwhelmed, full of anxiety,
yes,
full of stress.
yes.
And I don't think that God means for it to be that way. I really believe that, we're on a faith walk. If I, I'm a woman of faith, so hopefully whoever's listening, just know that's where I live. I can't help myself.
Me too.
But if in Hebrews it says that without faith it's impossible to please God, impossible. So that means that this whole thing is about faith. But now faith means that's the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So I got to have hope. And then it's not going to be evident to me. And I'm okay with that because guess what? If you saw the whole thing revealed at one time, it would shake you. You would be so shook that you would be paralyzed from that.
Yeah.
So one step at a time, forward movement. I always think about, a platoon, right? When you're marching in the army.
Yes.
Have you ever heard a command that says, backward march?
Never.
It's either forward, march in place, turn left, or turn right.
Yeah.
There is no backwards.
Right.
So if you're in the army, well, you just keep on marching forward, one step by one step by one step. And sometimes you have to march in place, and that's okay until the next call is given.
Love
That's
it.
okay.
I love this. So, okay, so your exit strategy. So you started doing this coaching, right? You started getting clients. So that was was that like your ultimate transition? Whenever you say coaching, was it coaching in business? Was it life coaching?
Yeah, it was life, leadership, and transformation coaching. So that's where I started. But I also, for years, have been a motivational, inspirational speaker. So that was the other part of the exit. So what I needed to do is, kind of dust off the stuff that I had done in the past and then start adding new to it. And so that was another piece of the strategy. And what I wanted to do was speak on larger stages. That was what I wanted to do. I've been to Alaska and Scottsdale, and I've been all over speaking. But that was some time ago, about 20 years ago. So I had to start bringing that current. And so our friend Angel Tussey is who I hired to help me to get on bigger stages. I just didn't realize that God had planned that the bigger stage is a TV network in front of potentially 200 million people. I didn't know that. That's what I didn't know.
Well, I mean, so let's talk about that because so there's so from two different perspectives. First of all, a lot of people okay, you're like, okay, great. She has a TV station. Oh my gosh, that sounds so big. You're but there's a lot of entrepreneurs, how would that benefit them? So I want you to answer, talk about this. How did you get that? And how does that even work? Did you know even anything about that? Right. And for those ladies that are listening, how could they, how could they get benefit from being on your TV? Let's talk about that too.
Okay. That's a loaded question. So first of all, I started out with a channel. And it was divine from the very beginning. I have one thing, a vision board. So first of all, I'll tell you, a vision board is extremely important. If you don't have a vision board, get you one. It doesn't have to be on your wall. Take your PowerPoint, get your best clip art from your device and from the internet, and put together a vision for yourself. Well, I had put together a vision on a PowerPoint. I don't believe in putting no board on my wall. It's right there. I look at it periodically. I have one thing left to do, and that was fireside chat with Zondra. And in my mind, I live in Dallas, Texas, and I don't know what I was thinking. But in my mind, I was going to sit around the fire with my girlfriends. We were going to talk about a topic, and we were going to have the fire lit in the fire pit and drink wine, cheese, crackers. That's how it was going to be. And I said it in September, early September, it's still hot. So, I was like, gonna work out for me. I'm gonna be perspiring. I'm gonna look crazy. And God kind of spoke to me and said, I want you to shoot it professionally. And I was like, for what? It's going on YouTube like everybody else. We get so accustomed to being like everybody else that it cripples us.
Wow.
And that is one of the reasons why I wrote a signature speech called the Blue Rose Moment. Because that Blue Rose Moment.
What the heck is a Blue Rose Moment? Ladies, write this down. What is a blue? I want to know. I've been waiting for this part of the interview. Blues Rose Moment.
Okay. Blue Rose Moment. Because that was also given to me. I was getting ready to speak at a chamber. And this blue rose came to me, and I started thinking about a blue rose. And I was like, there's such a thing as a blue rose, you know? Yeah, it might be dyed, but there's such a thing. But here's the thing, a blue rose is uncommon.
Mm.
And we have become accustomed to want to fit in with commonality. That's where a red, yellow, or white rose, it's common. We
Yeah.
think that's beautiful. And we adore it when, oh, a woman gets a whole bunch of red roses delivered. If you got a dozen of blue roses delivered, would it be any less beautiful? It would just be
Different.
uncommon.
Uncommon.
Hmm.
So there's so much in what you're saying here. I love, love, love this because Larry, my husband, he preaches this all the time. You know, he's like, always, he's like, just because everybody else is doing it that way doesn't mean we have to do it that way. Like, he goes, I'm not taking my instructions from everybody else because every influencer or whatever wants to do it that way. Like, I take my calls from somewhere else. So I love what you're saying because we can fall into those traps and real, like, it's okay to be different. You know, you don't have to be the cookie cutter just like everybody else is doing it for it not to be right. Right. I mean, so blue rose moment, this is such a powerful visual. It's such a powerful visual, right? Such a visionary. So blue rose moment. And so then whenever he said, you're not going to be like her, this is not going to be YouTube, what did you do? Like,
I was like, okay, so I'm going to film the show. So I did. I called a producer, and he said he'd love to do it. And I was only going to film one 30-minute episode. And God spoke to me and said, do two. And I was like, do two. So I called him and I said, do you think you could do two? You know how we're so timid sometimes. And he said, well, why not? I'm already there. Let's just do two 30-minute episodes. So, you know, you go get the people that you know the best, that love you the most. And you ask them, would you be on TV with me? And let's talk about these two things. And so we did. We filmed it. And it turned out that the people that sold me my first Roku channel said that they were going to help me. They were going to teach me. Because remember, I'm a baby boomer with millennial tendencies. I don't really know anything about streaming. I know something about key punch operator. I mean, you know, I don't know nothing about this. So how in the world? So, but they left me for dead. And I was like, they didn't teach me. They didn't tell me anything. And I was like, oh my God, I've gotten into this. What am I going to do? And, you know, Angel is a sweetheart. She had been in TV, so she taught me what she knew, but then she connected me to other people that knew. And then I continued to interview and I continued to talk to people. That's how this happened.
okay, so I want to stop right there and I want to dive into this because I want to have this conversation because somebody out there listening right now was told they came into a business, they came into a company, and somebody told them, I'm going to help you. And you have felt like you were left on the side of the road. You feel like you've been forsaken. And I'm here to speak life into you right this minute as you're listening to this, is that it doesn't matter what they told you. You were brought here for a purpose and for a reason. And you don't need them to move forward. You don't need that person, or to Zondra's point, you don't need Roku to take you by the hand and show you what to do. Right. You just got to be willing to step outside of the circle you're currently standing in and take responsibility. That's it. You were brought here for a reason and a purpose, and you cannot blame the person that brought you here because that was part of the plan.
It was part of the plan. But not only that, I think that we as just humans, we struggle with being in a space of our own that maybe no one else is in that space. Because when I was doing this, I was like, well, what other woman do I need to talk to? Oprah? Who do I need to talk to? You know, you start like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's hard to become comfortable in uncomfortableness. And I learned over the first year how to really get comfortable in uncomfortableness. And in actuality, that is where the biggest growth occurs. Is in your uncomfortableness.
I love this because I always say, your dream, your purpose is on the outside of your comfort zone.
It is.
And here's what you just tapped into, right? So I don't even know if you really realize what you just said here, but you are the legacy because you are a pioneer. Hello, you are paving the way. You did
Yeah.
it. Your legacy is being a pioneer. You're doing it.
Doing
You,
it.
you're doing it. You are paving the way for somebody else behind you. Like you don't know what to do, but what do? You just trust God and you figure it out. You just keep taking the steps driving in the fog. You don't have to see everything.
Marching. Marching.
Just keep marching. Just keep marching. Just keep moving. I love this. Okay. So you didn't know what to do. Then you connect with Angel, and then so then you get this PR going, and what happens next?
People couldn't resist me. They started interviewing me, and it was interesting because I didn't realize I should have been paying. I always say I can't be saying I'm young, kind of dumb and stupid. I'm kind of seasoned and a little dumb and stupid because that's not my world. And so I got all these interviews, I got all this to happen, and I was like, it was probably about $20,000 worth of promotion, and I was like, wow. And then somebody had gotten a channel on Comcast and called the guy that had sold me the Roku channel and said, we're looking for content and we're looking for a talk show. And they showed them my 2 episodes and they fell in love. And that's how I ended up on Comcast. And then from there, the people that were interviewing me originally invited me to become a part of their family. And that's what gave me yet another Roku channel and another in Amazon and Apple and all of that. And I was like, this is really awesome. And then last year, something huge happened that I wasn't really ready for. People started coming to me early last year saying, I want to be on your network. And I was like, I don't have a network. I don't have a network. I mean, that's in my plan for 2021 or 2022. I don't have a network. And they were like, well, I want to be on your network. And I was like, okay. So then God spoke to me and said, build the network now in August of 2019. And at the same time, you're to build an incubator for TV and media and teach people everything that I've taught you over the last year and a half. And so I did.
The timing, wow, like really, like the timing of that, how impeccable to be positioned. We always think, when I teach, we call it the 3 P's: position, posturing for the presentation.
Yeah, there you go.
I
like your 3 P's.
how it just unfolded for you, the timing and being so here, being sensitive to the voice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Internal voice that's leading you and guiding your steps. But something really, I really want to celebrate you because you won an amazing award. I really want to talk about that because that's so cool. Like, that's so amazing. Like, for being left on the side of the road by Roku and like award. Like, that's awesome.
Oh my goodness. It's amazing. And I'm going to tell you, here's the thing, because before I tell you about the award, I have to tell you a little bit about what it took for me to sacrifice. Obedience is better than sacrifice. But I always say, in order to be obedient to what your vision is and what has been planted in you, that you must sacrifice. So I sacrificed and sold a home for the vision to build the network because I wasn't to owe anybody anything for any of it. And so I did. And I built the network in 19, not knowing that there'd be a pandemic in 20. But in 20, the pandemic happened. The incubator was designed. And God spoke to me and said, I want you to cut your prices for 2020 because I don't want anyone to have any barriers to bringing their message to the network. And I was like, I'm not going to make no money. You know, I sold my house. What are you saying? Um, and so,
He
and
did
so
that.
I did. And
I mean, I think he probably knew that. Like,
right, but I had to just have that conversation. So,
just a reminder, I don't know if you realize it or not, but just in case you forgot, I did sell my house for it.
for the vision. For the vision. Okay, so then I was like, okay. So then I said, well, if I got to cut my prices, and I'd like to have 5 people that would be in the incubator, which is a year long, to learn about posturing on TV media, creating a digital footprint, all of that. I'd like 5 people, just 5. Could you give me 5 guys to work with, since I've had to cut my prices? And he didn't send me 5; he sent me 12 in the midst of a pandemic that signed a contract and paid their deposits and have been paying monthly for the last 7 months of the incubator. Many of them have already brought their TV shows to bear. And so there's something to being obedient, but there's something to sacrifice as well. And so sometimes you have to stretch. There's a little bit of a stretch. I always think about that doll back in the day was called Stretch Armstrong, right?
Yeah.
I'm really dating myself now. My kids had it. But at the end of the day, you got to be able to stretch out, and you've got to be able to actually be lifting that weight on the sideline so that when it's time for you to get in the game differentially, you have the strength that you need in order to prevail.
Wow, it's so good. It's so good because, and there's so many times that I think people, they miss the mark or they miss the boat because out of fear, right? Out of fear. And,
Yeah.
I mean, like, we've heard that acronym, false evidence appearing real. And I always, I use it differently. Forget everything and rise.
Forget everything.
Forget everything.
Okay. Well, mine is different. I took it from somebody I love.
What?
Face everything and rise.
Well, okay, that works too.
Face, forget. It don't matter, because at the end of the day, fear is crippling. And people talk about it. Oh, but what else is it? No, fear sets on the foundation of fear.
Yes.
Everything sets on the foundation of fear. And it's whether or not you are willing to sweep that off of your foundation and live the life that you deserve. So
it's almost like I whenever I think about fear and faith, it's like, okay, so I got to get it on the screen here. So, okay, so if you have faith and you have fear, right? And those are the two ends of the spectrum. It's like, where are you in that spectrum, right? Are you more on the side of faith, or are you more on the side of fear? Mm-hmm. And usually that comes in our decision-making process, and whether we move outside of our comfort zone or we stay because we're paralyzed with a fear of the unknown. And so there's so many examples of what you're sharing here about how you were trusting in the faith process and getting out of the boat, making a step out of the boat, right? That has paid off, right? That as you've stepped into your greatness, you've stepped into your calling, you've stepped inside of being that pioneer and lighting the path for so many people walking behind you. You are your grandmother's daughter.
You better know it. You better know it, because it's like the award. Here's the thing.
Oh, we haven't talked about the award. Okay.
Well, I'm just going to tell you about the award piece, because I knew nothing about the International Communications Award. It fell in my inbox, and I was like, how do these people get my name? I'm like, how did they get my name? And I was like, oh, I'm not going to apply for that. But then I heard the voice that said, apply. And I was like, apply. I mean, so it was in January. So I applied, not even thinking anything. When the pandemic hit, they came back and said, we're going to give an extended deadline. And of course, you know how our minds think. Oh, probably because they didn't get enough good people, which I'm not one of them either. And they're never going to choose me. When they chose me, I'm telling you right now, it came into my inbox and I had to put on my glasses and go, for real? It's me. Oh my God. I mean, I jumped up, I ran to the front of the house, I ran to the back of the house, and then I came back and put on my glasses again. Is it really Zondra TV Network? For real? I was so elated to win that award of distinction.
That's so
And that catapulted us to another level as well, because there were 6,500 people that applied and we won. We
so
won the award of distinction for TV, media, and talk show.
so powerful. So powerful. I mean, like, if you are not walking in your journey or in your calling, like, I don't even know how to help you with this one. I mean, like, this is set, like, the story of unfolding, like, what's before you is amazing. So let's talk. I mean, I really want to share with the ladies, like, how, like, what would you do if you were an entrepreneur? How could they leverage what you have to offer? How could they, you know what I mean? Like, what would that look like for them in their business? Like, what would you, if you were in their shoes,
Mhm.
right? Knowing what you know, what would you give them some tips of how to make this work for them in their business?
Sure, I will. So there's a couple of things. The thing that I've learned, and I'm sharing this with you, not because I am in streaming TV, but because I think it's the thing that will differentially separate you from the competition.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of people have LMS's courses and they have, Facebook groups, and you're doing a lot of work in those groups and that and this and that and this and that. And that's all really good. But if you really want to differentiate yourself, you'll figure out how to get into streaming technology on TV. I don't mean YouTube, because YouTube is free and everybody can have a channel. I'm talking about literally producing your own content differentially. So think about that LMS course that you're doing. What if you were on TV teaching that course, and that could be a reality for you, and you could have subscription through TV, and you could do pay-per-view. So now you're doing conferences as an example. Your conference should be on TV as a pay-per-view 90 days after you finish, and have that residual income coming into you. So that's one way. But the real thing, let's just take it from the very elementary approach.
Mhm.
You must be seen, be heard, if you really want to grow your business.
Be
And
seen.
what does that mean? That means you should be on TV, you should be interviewed, you should have a professional reel for yourself. And by the way, you should have a commercial advertisement. Those four things at a minimum are required. And that is what Zondra TV does well. And we do it well at an affordable price, because our target is small business entrepreneurs. Now, where else can you go for $479 and be interviewed, get a social media campaign, get an online digital advertisement in the zip code of your choice, where we will drop your video so that people get to know you?
Love it.
You can't do that anyplace else. And so we're proud of our pricing structure. We're proud of what we do for entrepreneurs, and we're waiting on you. I said you.
Like, okay, so that's the best advertisement ever. Like, waiting on you. That was like, we need to clip that. We're waiting on you. I love that. I mean, because here's the thing. Well,
Frozen.
are you there? Did I lose you?
You were frozen, but I wasn't. You remind me of my grandchildren. They call me on Google or something and Duo, and then they go, "You're frozen," but they're the ones frozen. I know you're frozen.
I'm telling you, since this whole pandemic, like, my internet is like crazy. Like, And so I always try to tell my guests, like, if I go away, keep talking. Just
Keep talking.
entertaining everybody. Like, just keep the ball moving. I'll be back. So anyway, okay, Zondra. So tell the ladies here, you've given so much value. How would they communicate with you? How would they connect with you if they wanted to pursue this, what you suggested doing? Like, how would they reach out to you?
It's kind of simple. I'm a
Okay.
simple girl. Just go to Be on ZTV, BEONZTV.com. You can go there and I give away discovery calls because I think, and I tell people all the time, you may not, oh, I don't want to be on TV. Okay, that's fine. Remember, I'm a certified coach as well. That discovery call is your 30 minutes to talk to me about anything that you would like to talk to. It could be about what should your marketing strategy be, what your advertisement budget should be. What's the one thing that I would recommend that you do based on where you are in your business. I mean, use it. It's free to you. It's worth it just to understand what could happen for you, and then not only take the call, but actually implement the things that we talk about. I want to see people live the life they deserve.
I love it. I love it. So as we're leaving here today, so you're like a life coach. So give them maybe a couple of handles. Like, do you have like maybe a book that you would recommend, or something like your go-to, or something that you're reading now, like you would share with the ladies here?
Well, there's so many. There's so many, but of course, I would recommend my own book, only because the name of it is called "The Power of Investing in You." Because I think that we really don't understand the value of who we are and the value of investing in the most valuable asset and resource, which is you.
Mm.
We cut ourselves as women. We don't do anything. We be like, oh no, the kids need this. Oh no, I got to do this. Oh, I can't go to this conference because I need to go to the laundry and go to the grocery store on Saturday. I mean, we make up every excuse. And so I want people to understand that the true value and the true asset and resource is you. And if you don't believe it enough to differentially invest in yourself, and it's not just about spending money, it's about the power of association and collaboration, understanding the value of that and how to do that well. I just think that you have to invest in you. Invest in you today.
It's such a powerful thing. And here's the thing, what I think women do, Zondra, I mean, to your point, is like they think they're serving whenever they put themselves on the bottom of and they give to everybody else. They give to everybody else, and they self-sacrifice. But what it is ultimately is self-sabotage. Because if they would put themselves at the top, right, and invest in themselves,
Yeah.
they would serve everybody else in their circle even better.
Even better.
Like,
And that's the point.
that's the point. It
Get
is.
into you.
And they think it's selfish. And it's like, no. It's
Yeah.
the opposite. Whenever you serve, whenever you do what you said, investing in you, you're
Yeah.
serving everybody else in your circle even better because you have more to give. And I love that. I'm gonna buy your book. Can we get it on Amazon?
It's on Amazon. You can download it on Kindle. I think at this point, I think I have it at 99 cents. It's not about the money. It's just about listening, and really reading and taking in the power of you.
Yeah.
I think understanding your true power and tapping into that is the reason why we are running around saying, and I want to say this because I'm also on a crusade to stop people talking about the best version of you, because the best version of you is a copy.
Ooh, that's deep.
That's a copy.
Wow.
Why don't you just be the best you? Period. I don't need to be a version, because then it makes me feel like, are we on version 1.2 or 2.1? I don't even know. Just be you.
I love that. Okay, so like, because Larry, we just launched his book, right? And this reminds me of a chapter in here that he talks about, and I love this, and I'll share this with the ladies here, because it says, become, you are good enough. Demand the best of you.
Not a version.
Not a
Not
version.
a version. So people need to stop saying that. I want, the best version of you, because the best version, mm-mm, that's still it's got a little undertone of phoniness. And I don't roll in phoniness. This is who I am. I
Yes.
am Zondra Evans. This is who I am. I seek to serve
Yes.
other people in the universe. I seek to share the knowledge that God has given me. This is who I am. And I didn't just start being this. I've been this all the days of my life. So me living life is so much lighter because it's no version. Girl, I didn't make no Xerox copy. This is who I am. Oh, I mean, these lashes might have changed over time, but this is me. But stop talking about being the best version of you.
Yeah.
Just be you.
I
You're
love it.
enough. You're worthy. You're great. God doesn't make mistakes.
That's right.
I don't care what. And we all have areas that we need to improve in. Even me. I don't even believe that, we were taught as a child, practice makes perfect. Haven't you heard that? That is so untrue. Practice makes improvement. And you continue to practice and there's improvement, but it's still layered on the top of the real Zondra Evans, not a version of me.
Love it. I love it. I love it. So I really appreciate the wisdom. I really appreciate the story. I really appreciate sharing with the ladies. And maybe if Tina, you're still on, you can put her website on here inside the comment section. beonztv.com.
Mm-hmm.
On ZTV. Now you know why I call her ZTV. So I love it. Okay, ladies, we are hit the top of the hour. I just thank you so much for being here. I'm going to say bye to you privately. Ladies, I hope you got lots of shows on her, lots of love and hearts. Appreciate her time taken out from her business today. And I hope you guys have a blessed Tuesday. If you have not voted, go out, go vote. Beautiful day to do it, and love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being here. This is Taylor Thompson live inside the She Network with Zondra TV. Thank you, Zondra. Bye, ladies.